Because your first guest today says that small caps have largely been ignored or unloved for way too long, and it's time to think big about the little ones. Dan Veru is here to kick things off, Chief Investment Officer and Senior Partner, Palisade Capital Management. Dan, great to have you on. You just gave me a stat before the show, which, you know, not a lot of things blow my mind, but this did. That all Russell 2000, every stock in that index combined, is smaller than NVIDIA. What do you make of that?
You know, look, it's a distortion. It's an extreme. And this is not saying anything bad about NVIDIA. It's an extraordinary company that's had extraordinary growth. But, you know, I think a whole host of companies are really, really high quality. They're just being ignored right now. We're really at the very first phase of what I think is a long-term, a long cycle of small cap outperformance relative to large cap.
When we say a stat, by the way, it could be an RBI, random and interesting, that NVIDIA is bigger than the entire Russell 2000 or NVIDIA is bigger than the entire German stock market or whatever it is. And NVIDIA, no doubt, is an amazing company, one of the greatest companies the world has ever seen. But it is, would you say it is possible that some of these AI-related names are a little stretched?
They're priced as though the growth rates aren't going to slow down. And certainly people like Dan Ives are far more informed in terms of what that growth rate's going to be. But the way I think about it is the S&P 500, if you look at their CapEx budget, a third is going into AI and AI-related investments. Now, maybe that just continues to go for a long time, but at some point, there's going to want to be an expectation of a return off of those investments.
Yeah, what money are these companies making off of AI? That's going to be the question. If that question is unanswered for a short period of time, it's fine. I think you invest for the long haul. But if that question is not answered, I just wonder what the market risk may be. Let's get into why you're here, and that is smaller caps and some individual names. Digital Bridge, okay? Now, despite the name, this is actually an asset management company. They exist on the digital, and they invest on the digital side. So what is it about Digital Bridge that makes you excited?
Well, my financial services analyst, Chris Mesha, has done great work on this company because it's a great read-through into some of the key investments that are being made into the AI and AI infrastructure part of the economy. But you're not taking technology risk because you're also investing in some of the more infrastructure-related parts. We need power generation. They're a play on that. They have a lot of embedded gains that are yet to be realized because they do make technology investments. And they've been raising capital from institutions and now individual investors. And there's talk that because of their expertise in identifying different areas of technology to invest in, that perhaps other asset managers might view them as an attractive acquisition.
Repligen is another name. Repligen, I'm not going to pretend I understand bioprocessing or everything they do. There are people much smarter than me, like you and your team, that can understand it. But I do understand charts, and I know that Repligen has not had an easy run. It's down by about half from its all-time peak about 3 years ago. It's kind of just been floating along. Why Repligen? Why now?
So my partner, Dawn Brock, who covers healthcare, I think she's nailed this perfectly. You know, you need a clearance event. You need something to happen to remove the uncertainties. And I think what's happened in the last couple of days vis-a-vis drug pricing, really it was that clearance event. You know, Repligen is no different than Danaher in many respects, which you and I have talked about as well. You know, they are part of the whole ecosystem of how you make drugs, and a very important component of that. The stock's been plagued by simply uncertainty over the direction of drug pricing. Now at least you have better clarity, and it's more and more important as we get more, that we're going to need more drugs to come out, and they would play in that ecosystem of how new drugs are formed.
I've known